10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Good afternoon and Happy New Year. Happy New Year. This year is going to be better than last year. I guarantee it, because last year wasn't the best year for many people, but things are going to turn around the corner. Welcome to Dr. Surajit Khann's Returning Youth radio show. We're very happy. This is our fifth segment, I believe, fifth time that we've got the 1 hour to ourselves. We're excited about that. It's very great. So please let other people know. And you can join us you can see our wonderful faces at facebook.com/Connor, the number 4 kids, Connor, the number 4 kids, and you can see us live. But we are also streaming on WPAT 930 AM radio, and that goes out to over 30 million homes. And I believe a lot of people are home today, so we hope that they're listening. You can go to our Facebook page at facebook.com, Connor for Kids, and make a comment. But you can also stream live at www.wpat930am.com. So contact us. We want to hear from you at contactk.com. We want to hear your comments. We have a lot going on we're excited about today, but Dr. Khann is an attorney, a child safety advocate, a servant of the underserved, and champion of the nonprofit Voice of the Kids. He also recently launched his post-incarceration juvenile justice Reformation Act initiative. And that's a lot of words. We call it in short his returningyouth.com campaign. Returningyouth.com. Please visit there. We will explain, it explains on that website how we're different, what we're going to be offering, how we're going to be helping returning young adults back to a productive life after they get out of prison, after they get out of jail, after they get out of a county, after they get out of a halfway house. It doesn't make a difference. The recidivism rate is the same for all these alternatives, 55% in 12 months. Hey, we're going to get that down. And we've partnered with an organization in New Jersey who has a recidivism rate of only 5%. So we are getting these post-incarcerated young adults back into society by providing them with housing and training, all the required medical and psychological assistance, everything they need to secure a job, to build their careers, and to greatly improve their lives. I want to thank you all for joining us. And I know that we have a couple of people here. We have Clem Yaboa, and we also have the co-host of InspireYourBestLife.com, Nicole McIsaac. And at this time, I would love to introduce and turn it over to Dr. Surajit Khann.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Gary. Good afternoon, Clem and Nicole. And good afternoon and Happy New Year to all the audience, those who are listening. And thank you for listening to this wonderful segment on Friday. Every Friday, we are here for this returningyouth.com, which is post-incarceration Juvenile Justice Reformation Act initiative. I'm really indebted to all the listeners, to the CFC Foundation, to the WPAT 930 AM radio station, that every Friday, 3 to 4, you all are listening to what this initiative is all about, how we can make a difference to the young adults coming out of prison. Today is the first day of this year, 2021. If you do not remember, this is the third decade, starting of the third decade of this millennium, which started in 2000. So 2021 is a very special year for all of us. I know every year is a special year, but 2021 is a more special year because the year 2020, whatever happened in that year, the major disaster happened was the pandemic. And if we all, those who are surviving by the grace of the God, if we made it, we can make it to 2021. I just want to take a little bit time and kind of go over some of the major things that happened in 2020 for which this country is grateful, thankful, and appreciative. Well, very first thing, would like to see that exactly in 1 year ago, this COVID-19, the world thing started in Wuhan, China, and went to Thailand. Exactly 1 year ago. That was December 30th, 31st. And today is 1st of January. And then we also had the basketball player Kobe Bryant, who left us in January of 2020. We also had the murder of George Floyd, and the Black Lives Matter protest started. Then also we had the murder of Hornets, the Beirut explosion, fires in Australia. These are the outside of this country. And one of the major thing happened is we lost one of the famous justice of one of the 9 justices of Supreme Court, Justice Ruth Ginsburg. Then we lost Alex Trebek. A lot of things happened this year. I just highlighted a few of them. But one of the major thing also happened right before the end of the year is rollout of the vaccine. That means what? That means there is a hope at the end of the year. So there is a hope. So my dear audience, there is a hope for all these young adults, those who are coming out from incarceration. There is always a hope. And this is what this initiative is all about. We are trying to hold them and make them a good citizen of the United States. I know that they made a mistake at the young age because of their social, financial, whatever reason, they made some mistake. And once they made the mistake, they went to jail and they repented. They got their punishment. And when they come out, we have to treat them well. We have to give them a second chance. We have to accept them in our society so that we can help them to be a good citizen of the United States. And what happens if we don't do that? Well, if they do not get the love and affection and acceptance in the society, then they lose hope. 2 things happens to them. Either they end their lives by committing suicide because they feel they're burdened to the community, or they go back and do the crime again so that they can go back to the prison again. Because at least for their mindset, well, I'm going to get some food and a roof on my head. That's all they care about that. But is that what we need? These young adults are bright young adults. They just need little bit of boosting. All they need is little bit of love so that they can get out of the mental incarceration and they become a good citizen of the United States. So let us all work together. Please help me in this movement. 2021 is a very great year. Today is the first day. I'm so fortunate that I am reaching out to you all to seeking help. I cannot do all by myself. I do have a small team, but this small team also cannot do everything by themselves without your support. So my dear audience, today is the New Year's. Let's work together. Let's commit ourselves that we are going to help these young adults to become a good citizen of the United States. Because whatever we went through this 2020 was a tragedy year. We lost more than 400,000 people in 9 months. We had a big riot for the racism. We had the worst virus. Everybody had to do things from home. Well, one good thing happened is the family bondage happened, which did not happen in the past years because everybody stayed home. Everybody had a bondage between their parents, their siblings, their friends, those who are close to themselves. That's one thing happened, good thing happened because of the virus. So we have a hope that in 2021, we can make things different. And that's why I want all of us to work together under one roof and make this journey a success. Because next year in 2022, I would like to see at least 5 states out of 50, at least 10% of the 50 states, we can successfully implement this movement and we can give these opportunities to all the young adults coming out of prison. That is my New Year resolution, to at least have 5 institutions incorporated in 5 states. We are already in 2 states. We are about to be in the 3rd state. So another 2 states or 3 states is not a big deal, but it is a big deal because we need more and more support from you all. Any kind of support is needed in this year 2021. So thank you very much for listening to me. And we have a lot of other programs today. Gary is going to highlight that. Thank you very much again. Thank you, Gary.
Thank you so much, Dr. Khann. Thank you for joining us. I think we have our very special guests on the line. I think Abiodun is on the line. Is that you, sir?
Yes, it is. And I was listening to Dr. Khann, and I really want to echo what he was saying because it's very important that we look out for our young people. I think it's quite obvious that there has been a target put on the backs of many of our young black men to fill up the prisons. The prisons have become the plantation for the most part. It's like if you commit a crime and you go to prison, then you become a slave again. And so we've become that stock that they want to use to fill up the prisons. And this has been going on for much too long. And many of our young men are not given an opportunity to do something meaningful and productive with their lives. So consequently, prison is one of the only alternatives because they're going to try to find a way to survive. They're going to try to find a way to exercise their manly egos in whatever possible way they can. And sometimes that might mean committing a crime just to express something that says, I can be a man, to prove to themselves that they can accomplish something, even if it's the wrong something. But if they had some meaningful tasks, if they have brothers like Dr. Khann who are concerned about their well-being and about them staying out of prison, that's important to see that the concern is a part of it, but put the work in to make it possible for them to develop some crafts, become carpenters, plumbers, or teachers or whatever, but to give them an opportunity to redirect their energies into something positive is vital. And I'm just very proud and pleased that Dr. Khann is on that mission, because that's been a mission of mine as well, even though I don't have an organization that speaks to that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Abiodun. I have tears in my eyes right now. I could not believe that you joined this show, and I could not believe that you are behind me. Means I need somebody like you, because I'm just an insignificant servant of this people, and you are. Means I'm really thankful that you are speaking here to the audience. This audience needed to hear you. They are tired of hearing you. Okay, thank you very much.
First of all, Dr. Khann, let me say this. No one is insignificant. Don't consider yourself insignificant, please. We are all very significant in whatever we do. I mean, everyone I've done some things that have been given some praise, and I'm proud, and I feel very blessed and honored. But I'm doing my assignment. I'm doing what I was scheduled to do, what my destiny dictated, and as well as what you're doing. Each one of us play a part. None of us can get anything done alone. And coming together is the only answer to getting whatever hurdles we need to overcome. We need each other's help. We need each other's assistance. And it takes somebody who has a heart, who has an understanding, who has some compassion to even offer a possibility of change that could be very important to the community. Our communities have been ravished. Many of our sisters are turning away from themselves and being the beautiful women they're supposed to be because there aren't many men at their disposal, available to them. And many of those young men and many of the dreams that we have in the black community are dead because those brothers are sitting in prison and mothers are dying because their sons are not around. There's so many horrible things happening. So for you to take up a position that you want to see a change, you want to see people, I applaud you. And there is nothing at all insignificant about what you're doing. It is the most significant thing we can do. We have to recognize this whole 2020 has been a year of humanity versus inhumanity on every possible level. And you mentioned it, and you did it very well. We talked about the virus. That's a bullet against humanity. We're talking about injustice. That's another bullet against humanity. These are things that have ripped humanity in shreds. And plus, we have had an orange clown in the White House who cares nothing about humanity. He was only concerned about himself. So we've been through the fire in more ways than one. And for any of us to step up and to try to reach out to others to help them get sturdy, to help them have a position on this planet and be at peace with themselves and find a way to take care of themselves, that is a major undertaking. And I would never see it as being anything insignificant. I'm doing what I'm doing because that's what my assignment was entailed. Everybody's got something to do. There are people who have done things that are much greater than myself, but they're not known. Their names might not be out there, but the work is proof that they have done something because many of us are living off of the fact that there are folks who've laid a foundation for us to stand.
No, thank you very much, Mr. Abiodun. Thank you very much. You've been too humble to praise what I'm doing. But again, like you said, I have been given this task by the Almighty to do this. Okay,
that's right.
I could not do anything without the Almighty's consent. So, but I'm really thankful. And you said you don't have an organization. Well, you have an organization right now. We are
That's
part
right.
of it. Okay, let's make it happen. 2021, I want like you said, I want every Black and underserved young adults, those who are coming out of prison, should be taken care, should have been transformed to be a good man, because they are good in heart. Nobody is born wrong. Nobody is born bad. Okay? Everybody comes with some type of significancy, which you just said. Everybody comes with a task to be done in this world. God sends everybody with something to do. But
thank you, Dr. Khann. Yes. Thank you very much. I want to do two things quickly. I definitely want our chairman of the board of the Voice of the Kids to talk to Mr. Oyewole and say hello. He is African American. And then after that, Clem, I would like to play the introduction video that my friend Perry Gaffney did of you. It was phenomenal. But Clem, go ahead.
You are muted, Clem.
The technology, right? Abiodun, I really welcome you to this platform.
Thank you.
What we have not done enough of is we've not told the story of the Black person. We have not told that story on this in this radio show. So, but what we have done is we've made certain assumptions that people know our story. And so we're trying to solve the problem and starting with the young men. Yes.
Right.
The truth of the matter is that is really the key to the solution. When we solve the young men's problems, just as you mentioned, when the young men are not there, the society, the Black community stops, because our young women then don't have a normal avenue to a regular life. Okay, then procreation stops. Then a lot of other things stop. They are the providers for the family. They are not there anymore. So the society comes to a standstill. Now, we can spend sessions on this radio and really tell the story, because once the story is told properly, then we can understand why the young man as a target is the reason why we are doing what we're doing. When we solve the young man's problems, we've solved the problem of the whole community. You see, and I'm glad you said that. You said that in passing, yes, but you said it. And you know, when we go back to the motherland and we look at certain parts of Africa today, because of civil war and the things they went through, in war times, men get killed and the women are left alone. Now, in some countries like Somalia, Ethiopia, and other places, they are asking the young men to marry 3, 4, 5, 6 wives so that they can take care of them. You see, that's we don't want our society here in America to come to that situation. So we want to have the young men available to continue the regular live stream. So you know, you evoke those thoughts in me, and I'm really grateful to hear you speak about that. But
well, you know, one of the main things that we have to consider is education, because if a person is not taught of the gifts or the contributions that they've made to society in a whole, or the contributions that they've made to the world, if a person doesn't feel his worth, then he's going to be in a situation where he's going to not feel good about himself. And we have a lot of young men who go to school, but they're not learning about where they come from. They're not learning about Africa. They're not learning about the gifts that we have to share with that we shared with the world, that we continue to share. They're not learning of their genius. They're not giving an opportunity to see themselves as a human being of worth and absolutely of being secure in a world that they should feel secure, and they're not being taught that. They're being indoctrinated into a society that really continues to shut the door on their opportunities. And we, as a people, need to recognize that the whole societal arrangement has been lopsided when it comes to dealing with Black people in America. Racism is alive and well, and everyone has seen it and felt it. I mean, besides the obvious from what happened with George Floyd having a knee on his neck, that knee is more or less a metaphor as to what's been happening to us for 500 years in this country. And Black people have had to overcome every obstacle you can imagine, and we're still here, and we still have love, and we still care, and we show that in every single thing we do. But the unfortunate part is that the young Black men who have not been given a positive feeling about themselves, they're going to wild out in the street. They're going to do something because there is a need for a man to express himself in whatever way he can, and to try to prove his manhood, show his manhood, or try to at least feel like he is worth the ground he's standing on. And none of that's been available. In Africa, they had rites of passages. The Jews even have a bar mitzvah. They have rites of passages. We don't even do that. We have just gone through this Kwanzaa period. I've told people, I said, I've used the Kwanzaa principles for a rites of passage. Our young men need to know that they come here with values that they need to enhance, and they need to recognize and uphold those values. And that those values are outlined in Kwanzaa. But people just look at it as some kind of a Black Christmas, and we just dismiss it after January, and that's unfortunate. But we're magnificent people, and we're creative, but we always need direction. So there's a whole we have to rearrange. We're talking about change. Everybody's talking about change. Well, the change really must start at the level of education. Our kids in preschool need to understand and recognize that they didn't come from nothing. They came from something. Matter of fact, they came from the something that everybody wanted. They came from Africa, and Africa is still the richest continent on the planet, on this whole planet. And I tell people, we don't have to go to Africa to recognize the worth of Africa. If you look inside of yourself, you'll find Africa. Africa has never left us. It's still with us. We have to just recognize that we have gold and diamond and uranium and all the minerals that make any country rich. We've got that stuff inside of us. But if a child is not told that, if a parent doesn't tell his child when they're young that they're special, he'll never feel he's special, and he'll go through life trying to figure it out. And that's sad. So we have to change the way we look at our kids. We have to change the educational system. There's a lot that needs to be done, but we can do it.
Right.
That's exactly, Mr. Abiodun, you made a good point. That's all. That's the whole reason of this change, this movement, that every Black young man needs to understand that they are coming with a treasure which they don't know. And that's what this program is different than anybody else is offering, because what I would like to do, me also, coming from India, we also have the same treasure, same value, which we come here with. Okay. And these kids, these young adults, they don't know that. So just going to the university or to the high school or to, Ivy League school does not give them that education. Okay. Their education is needed by somebody like yourself, like Claim, or like me, and all these young adults should be educated that everybody brings a treasure with them. Means literally, this 2021 can be wonderful. We have to make it wonderful. And this is my New Year resolution. You heard me, Mr. Abiodun, that my New Year resolution is, it would be, if God permits, I would like to be in all 50 states. But unfortunately, I cannot be there without everybody's support, those who are listening to this. If truly, if Gary always says, and as that we have 30 million, 40 million homes listening to this radio, well, if 10% of this 30 million, 40 million can come up, can roll their sleeves and join hand with me, Mr. Abiodun, Mr. Claim, and Mr. Gary and Nicole, then we can make this wonder, and we have to make it. What you told, a valuable thing you told, both you and Claim, that yes, you don't have to go to Africa to know your strength. You have that strength. You were born with that treasure. Okay?
That's right.
Thank you. Dr. Khann, what I'd like to do, and Abiodun, if you don't mind, I'd like to play the video of that, so people know a little bit about who you are and your background, because there's maybe some people on the phone and on the radio and also on the Zoom here that don't know you. So if you don't mind, we have Nicole. Yes, we have Nicole McIsaac. She's our intern here. She's a public relations intern. She's going to introduce the video. Go ahead, Nicole.
Okay.
Thank you, Gary. And it's so nice to talk to you guys all today. Thank you for being here. We definitely really appreciate you being on the line and appreciate you supporting this initiative. It means a lot to us to have your insight, no doubt. So we have this video. One of Gary's close friends created this video, and it does amazing job displaying all of the accomplishments that you've done throughout your span of life, and it really just amplifies our message with returning youth and the initiative in itself. So this is a video, and it kind of just explains your accomplishments and what you've done and how that ties into returning youth.
Abiodun Oyewole is the youngest founding member of the legendary trio, The Last Poets. He is also a published author, a recorded poet and singer, a mentor, an educator, a motivational speaker, and he still performs internationally. Credited with being the fathers of rap, The last poets were revolutionaries who inspired many to fight against injustice worldwide, including Nelson Mandela and the ANC in fighting South African apartheid. In the early 70s, Abiodun was an incarcerated felon in his struggle against American apartheid. This is what he says about Dr. Kaunas' Returning Youth Program.
I'm Abiodun Oyewole, and I am supporting Dr. Kaunas' Returning Youth Organization. And I think it is very important, it's very vital that young men who have been incarcerated have an opportunity to reshape their lives and to have a chance to develop a path that's not going to lead them back to prison. I was incarcerated, so I personally understand the whole concept of being incarcerated. And many folks come out of prison, they do unfortunately have a tendency to get caught up in things to send them back. It would be more than wonderful if the outside society would recognize the need to stop recidivism, or the way to stop recidivism is to give support to those young men who have served time, who paid the price for whatever crime it was that they committed. This program by Dr. Khann, I believe, is necessary and very important for the development of our folks. Too many black youth spend too many years locked up behind prison bars, and it breaks my heart to see this trend continuing. I hope and pray that there will be more Dr. Kaunas to show up in the near future, because prisons are opening their doors, they're not closing them.
Thank you very much, Gary. Thank you very much, Nicole, for playing this video. And like I said, when I first time I heard this video, it really touched my heart. And Mr. Abiodun, you have touched the heart of all these young adults. And I have a quick question for you, not for me. Wish I would be that young adult that I would like to have your association, but I would like your association to be spread out to all these young adults, give them the hope that, hey, whatever you did in the past is in the past. Now let's move along. Let's do the miracles which you can do, because you have the treasury inside them. And I heard that you are the legend. You started this, the hip hop thing. Could you tell a little bit about your achievement, which will motivate these young adults so that they don't feel that, oh my God, I cannot do anything. I just got out of jail. My whole life is dark. No, nothing is dark. Please light them up.
Well, we have a number of examples of people who have been incarcerated and came out of prison much better. First of all, I'd like to just speak to those who are incarcerated, some of them might be listening to this particular program at this moment. If you are incarcerated, the first thing we need to recognize, you don't go there to serve time. You go there to get time to serve you. You have to flip it. We have to recognize that we want to always, no matter if you're locked up, if you're not locked up, you always want to try to make improvements on your life. And if you're locked up, you've been given a certain thing they call time. Time, meaning that you're taken out of society and you're isolated and you're put in a position where you only have yourself to think about and to work with. And that's good, because a lot of times people on the outside, they never get a chance to really take stock of who they are. So you get to prison, you don't want to be in prison. It's not a place that anyone would want to be, but you take that time and you use it. You put a high hat and an apron on time, and you get time to work for you. You don't serve time. You get time to serve you. That's number one. And how you do that is you learn how to meditate. You learn how to get your writing skills together. If your math skills are weak, well, you strengthen them. Whatever your weaknesses are, you try to strengthen them. You take that time and use it wisely. And then when you get out, you try to connect with people who are doing something that's upwardly mobile, something that's going to be of benefit to you. Of course, you have to have finances. So there are some programs available. They're very scarce, but there are some places that will give assistance to those that are in need. I mean, there's some halfway houses. There's some situations. I spend a lot of time trying to talk to young men who I worked for many years for an organization called the Youth Communications, and they had a direct link to Spofford, which is a juvenile penitentiary here in New York City. And I would do newsletters with these young men. I have them write poems and put together a newsletter at least once every other week. And it was a beautiful thing because they could see their stuff in print, and it gave them a good feeling about themselves. And it also gave them an insight on the fact that they could write if they just took their time and put it down on paper, as long as they had somebody to give them some assistance. So, I just think that each one of us is responsible. We have a lot of young men who need guidance. We know that there are a lot of dysfunctional families, and a lot of these young men who are in prison don't have fathers at home. So many of us who have the time and the ability to be a surrogate dad need to step up and try to give some guidance. All these young kids aren't just wild and crazy. They need some assistance, and you'd be surprised at some of the roughest kids who look tough, they act tough. They're sensitive, and they just need somebody to give them a sign of something that they can relate to and feel better about, so that they won't do the crazy things that they do. Because much of the crazy stuff that takes place is just simply saying, I need attention. I need somebody to be in attention of me. I'm screaming for help. And maybe it's a weird way of screaming, but that's what many of them are doing. And I really feel like each one of us should try to be mindful of the fact that that's our treasure. The young people who are behind us will help make tomorrow. And many of them, and when you make a mistake really is only another growth step. All of us are going to make some kind of mistake. Maybe they won't be as grave as going to prison, but it'll be a mistake that will maybe cause us to recognize the course that we're on and change courses a little bit. And that's just a growth thing. And it's nothing that people should look at and say, this is the end of my world. But we don't have that type of teaching. Many folks are put into a very bad light, and they don't see how they can overcome that. But I believe that if we recognize the fact that, as I said earlier, the society has been set up for us to always be behind the eight ball. The society has been set up for us not to achieve and not to accomplish. But yet we have examples of Brother Malcolm, of Nelson Mandela, of Reuben Hurricane Carter. There have been a number of people who have been incarcerated, and they came out much better than they were before they went in, because they took that time that they were given and they made it work for them. And each one of the brothers in prison can do that, and those of us on the outside should encourage them while they're there. And if we care about our folks at all, we should try to find a way to develop a place for them to come to get skills, to learn more about who they are, and to embrace them in their efforts to stay outside of prison.
Thank you, Mr. Oyewole. We really appreciate it. I think Clem Yoboa had a follow-up question, Clem, about post-incarceration. You're on mute, Clem.
Yeah, what I wanted to ask was whether you have any specific suggestions for what we can do to, make it a little easier for these young men coming in, to get back into society. What any suggestions to add to what we are planning to do?
Well, one thing, when you have a bunch of young people together, there are projects, there are workshops and creative writing, history. History is exciting. I mean, a lot of those kids go into prison, they have no knowledge of who they are or who we were. I mean, they brought us on the slave ships and made us a zero before we got off, took our names and everything away. There need to be workshops. There need to be creative writing workshops. There need to be history workshops. There need to be workshops dealing with science and math. You'd be surprised how many of our kids would be gravitating towards those things if they were available. Nobody is putting out the money or the time to develop those things. And maybe there might be a few organizations, but sparsely across the country. I'm not familiar with too many. I know there's one or two here in New York City, but there need to be some attention given to those young men, because they're just rotting in prison. They're not being of service to themselves or anyone else. So if they're there, that's a captive audience that should be. You want to try to help lift them up, and you do that. You do that by simply having available workshops, having people come in to sit with them and talk with them about giving them guidance in the areas that they're interested in. Many of them might not even know they have an interest in science. They might think that it's something far-reaching from where they can go, but it's there if it's presented in a way that they can understand what the subject's all about. If history is presented, and history is always exciting because from our history we learn about our future. So, and those kinds of workshops are necessary. Creative writing, I have had tremendous success doing creative writing workshops with the women in prison and the men in prison. And I've had some young ladies tell me things like, "I never even knew I could write a poem." Well, now you know you can. So that's another availability. That's something that now is available to you. You have the ability.
Thank you, Abiodun. Yes.
No,
That's
thank you
fantastic.
very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Abiodun. And you brought up a point which I want to tell the audience. What you brought up, saying that, you know, there are children, young adults, those who grew up in foster care or grew up in homeless, in shelter, okay, and they have been famous. And I will name them some so that will kind of motivate these young adults. Steve Jobs is one of them. John Lennon is one of them. Even politicians like Bill Clinton is one of them. You know, you just you know, Eddie Murphy. If anybody is in the movie, Eddie Murphy is one of them. You know, Lauren Pascal is one of them. So yes, you can make it. All you need to do is please reach out to us. We are there to help you. We are there to hold your hands, to transform you, but you got to start thinking that you are a significant person in this world. Without you, this world would not exist. So if Steve Jobs could make it, we can make it. You guys can make it.
That's right.
And that underscores the fact that you know, it also involves educating the society, because it's the society that is going to hold them up. If the society is still going to look at them in a negative, with a negative stigma, then it's going to be difficult for them to be part of society. So our efforts should also be directed at letting society understand that. See, the history is a good starting point, yes, but the skills to survive in this world, you are a scientist, you are a mechanic, you are somebody who is you know, providing a service that you get paid for, is a good starting point. Knowledge is important because, you see, for example, in this United States, what we've done is we've upplayed 1620 when the Mayflower came in. We've downplayed 1619 when the first boatload of Africans arrived on the shores of America. And we continually downplay that. And we continually upplay Mayflower, which is fine, because Mayflower's arrival had some direct impact on what we did for democracy, you see. But the historical happenings are very important for us to educate the young ones, for them to really put it in the right perspective.
Thank you, Thank you, Clem. We have someone who was another guest. However, they couldn't make it today. Abiodun, I want you to listen to this also.
Okay.
A friend of, also a friend of Perry's. I don't know if you know her, but I'm also going to let Nicole.
Perry's a dear friend of mine. She's one of my best friends on the planet.
I've only known her about 45 years. That's all. So I don't know her that well. She is a dear friend.
She's a special human being. That's who she is.
So
she's very accomplished. Go ahead.
You must say something.
Abiodun, I just wanted to ask quickly, who were some of your sources of inspiration as a playwright, as a songwriter, as a...
Amiri Baraka was my mentor.
Okay.
And Sonia Sanchez is also another one of my mentors. These are people who I look up to. And there are quite a few artists like Nina Simone and John Coltrane who I also look up to, because they gave us some sounds that would take me away from this space and give me, and they said some things that motivated me to do what I do. Yes.
Okay. Well, I'd like to introduce. I'm going to have Nicole McIsaac, our intern, introduce Donna Hilton. I don't know if you know her, Abiodun.
What's her name?
Donna Hilton. We have a video from her. Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead, Nicole.
Gary. So Donna Hilton is a Jamaican-American author and criminal justice activist. She was convicted at age 20 and sentenced to 25 years to life. She was paroled in 2012 after serving more than 26 years. Following her time in prison, Hilton earned a bachelor's degree in behavioral science and a master's degree in English from Mercy College, and now currently works as an activist, public speaker, and community health advocate for Mount Sinai St. Luke's. She is also the author of a memoir called A Little Piece of Light, and this is what she has to say about Dr. Khanna's Returning Youth program.
Thank you very much, Nicole. Let's see here. Hold on. Sorry.
Hi, my name is Donna Hilton, and I am formerly known as inmate 86G0206. I served 27 years in New York State's maximum security prison for women. I went into the prison system as an adolescent. By the time I was 19, everything that had happened to me in my life was just cut short, and I was placed into the system in which I served 27 years. And so I grew up in the system. All those formative years, from adolescence to young adulthood to later adulthood, almost to being middle-aged, was spent in the system. I came out, I was 47 years old. I had no idea what I was going to do once I came out. I just knew I was determined. And what was instrumental is having support. And so programs like Dr. Khanna's Returning Youth is extremely important for those who've been in the system and been recently released. We need the support. We need training. We need employment. They tell us once we come out that we must have sustainable employment. We must have housing. We must do this. We must do that. But not many tell you how to do it or where to go to get it done. And so if we had more programs with Dr. Kaunas, then it would be very instrumental and helpful that we would see the recidivism rate decrease, especially for young adults. We don't have enough support and we don't have enough services for youth when they reintegrate into society. And this is very important. We need to help uplift. It takes a village to raise a child. And so let's be that village. Let's have more like Dr. Khanna's Returning Youth program to support.
Very good. And I personally would like to just say that I'm very proud of the fact that this young lady didn't sit and moan and groan over the time she was given. It seems like she used that time wisely because she's come out, sounds like a superstar human being to me, having gone through 27 years of being incarcerated. I applaud her tremendously because that's not an easy thing to do. Sometimes people become
absolutely, Mr.
totally.
Absolutely. This is like, and my dear audience, those who are listening today, we wanted to make this 2021 very, very significant. We want today, the Happy New Year Day, let us make all these young adults happy, because if they're happy, the world will be happy, because everyone looks forward towards these young adults. We cannot keep on blaming the community. We cannot keep on blaming the political system. We cannot keep on blaming the parents. If we as adults, those who are responsible for uplifting these young adults, if we don't give them the right education and right guidance and right direction. And Mr. Abiodun, you are so correct that they need directions. We have to give them directions. And the nature of young adults to break the rule. If if do not break the rule, then we don't need a rule. So rules are there to be broken, but again, they need to be coming back to the path again.
Yes,
Right.
someone's listening to the radio. If you could mute the radio so we don't get the echo, please. Thank you, Dr. Khanna. This has been a very exciting time. Things are going quickly. We have about 7 minutes left. And Abiodun, you were a fantastic guest. Listen, I just wanted to ask Kalam if you had any last questions for him.
Oh, yeah, but before I say that, see, our God is a God of many chances. God gives each one of us many chances, but
Right.
we as a people tend to we only talk about second chances, all right?
Right.
But, so when we have to do a retake, we have to look at many chances, and there will be a lot of people who are coming out who need that many chances. So
Oh, yes.
that's really what do you think about that position?
Yeah, but absolutely. But there are many more than just one chance, but we squander so much. But our God is a benevolent God. He is not to crucify. He's not here to hurt. He is here to give you an opportunity. And once you recognize that, because we're going to make mistakes, and sometimes those mistakes are made out of ignorance, and sometimes they're just made out of being stubborn and hard-headed. It takes a while. It takes a minute before we get it together. So one chance might not be enough. And two chances. I mean, they have this one thing. I think in the prison system, 3 strikes and you're out. If you get busted 3 times, it's just crazy because you can't really put a time on it. It's like, what are we doing to change the course of action in this person's life? What opportunities are being made available to him? What is society doing to try to uplift as opposed to tearing down somebody?
Thank you.
We're dealing with a society that does more destruction than it does building. Building is not what America's about. America's a war country. It's about destroying things. It's about knocking things down, blowing things up, shooting, killing, hurting, and it could be a beautiful country if people cared, if they showed compassion. Black folks are not evil, like it was said earlier. We're not negative people. We're positive people. If we were negative people, this country would have been knee-deep in blood a long time ago. We are loving. The only people we really hurt are ourselves, and that's mainly because we've been taught to hate ourselves in many cases. And much of what happens is because many of us do not know who we really are. So there is a needed effort for us to recognize that we cannot live by the definitions that have been thrown in our face. We cannot live by other people's thoughts about who we are. We can be a great people because that's who we've always been, and we need to recognize what our greatness is, and we need to talk to each other in a positive way and stop putting each other down. We can change a lot by not being petty and by not pointing fingers so quickly at others, and to try to do what we can to help somebody see the light.
Mr. Oyewole, we have just a few minutes. Dr. Khann has asked me to play a video of you, if you don't mind. There is a video on YouTube about you.
What is song, actually?
It's actually one of your songs. Do you mind if we play it?
Go ahead, whatever. If this works, go ahead. Fine, sure, I have no problem with it.
Thank you. We're going to play that now.
Let's keep it short, and because we have announcements.
Okay.
But
Brought here in chains, living in pain. Today is the same, and nothing ever changes. Hung by a noose, can't tell the truth, filled with abuse, and everywhere there's danger. How long can this go on? When will the light I see? I know I must be strong to last through my journey, yeah, to last through my journey, yeah. Time will arrive when we must decide to get off the ride and stop going through these changes. must prepare and learn how to care, for soon we'll be there where our lives won't be in danger. And when the light is clear, oh, how beautiful I will be to know that I've been here and made it through my journey, yeah, and made it through my journey, yeah, 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 made it through my journey.
This is so wonderful. This is
Yes.
so
Sorry
wonderful.
for cutting
Thank
it
you, Mr.
short.
Abiodun. This is very
No.
wonderful. You know, I hope the
Well,
audience can understand what this initiative is all about. I want the audience to understand that this initiative is not a small initiative. And I have people like Mr. Abiodun supporting this, endorsing this. Please, young adults, do not lose hope. 2021 is your year. Let's make this happen.
Well,
let's make
I
it
want to say
happen.
this. I want to do this. You, Mr. Oyewole, you went through the door of no return. The
Yes,
backdrop to your song was through that door of
right.
no return. And this year, we are opening that door of no return, a door to
And
prosperity for the people who have
I
been
love it.
incarcerated.
I love it. Thank
I
you
saw
so
the
much for having
backdrop.
me on. Thank you so much for having me on, and I'm here. If you need me, you got my number. Just give me a call, and I'll be glad to participate in whatever way I can.
Please
Okay.
be, please, Mr. Abiodun, please be in the heart of every single audience, those who are listening to us today and to you today. Please give them the hope and please give them, these young adults, that there is always a chance in life for prosperity.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely. And you all have a safe and blessed New Year. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank
We
you.
have about 15 seconds. Nicole, why don't you please take us out?
Thank you, Gary, and thank you for being here today and for everyone tuning in. You can learn more about this initiative at returningyouth.com. That's returningyouth.com. Or you can contact us at contactk.com. That's contactk.com, or give us a phone call at 302-746-2311. That's 302-746-2311. We're wishing you guys all a safe and happy new year. And thank you for being here today. We really appreciate you.
Thank you. Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Surajit.